Hey y'all, Tom, ND3N here, just like it says on the hat, and thanks for dropping in for a Ham Shack chat. Have you ever worked split? Do you know how to set your radio up for split? Do you know the proper times to use split and the times when you shouldn't? Do you like banana splits?
The banana split.
Now, working split can be a bit confusing and requires a bit of thought. Keeping track of two frequencies, transmit and receive, obviously is twice as hard as keeping track of a single frequency, where both frequencies are the same. So the first tip is to double check yourself before you hit that key, press that transmit button, or click the push to talk on your mic. Just a few seconds of review will keep you from accidentally doing something embarrassing or maybe even illegal. Now, I'll get into explaining this more later. In this video, I'm going to review and demo how to use split on the FT-991A radio. Now, although I'm using that radio, the principles of using split are pretty much the same for any of the modern rigs that have the split capability, which is pretty much all of them. Just to be safe and to avoid any QRM on my part, that's man-made noise, I have my radio output running into a dummy load. It's my opinion that every ham should have a dummy load, and I have links to the Diamond Antenna DL30A dummy load that I use, and I tossed in a couple of others as well. It might suit your use better. Using the link in the video description will take you to the Amazon listing, and I will receive a small, tiny pittance of a commission, which will not increase your cost at all. In a previous video, I discussed using the TX-Clarifier as an alternative method of working split. Now I'm going to take a few seconds, just a few, to give you a review on that. We start by going to the menu, and we want to be in menu item 40, which is a clarifier mode select. And currently it's set to RX, which is the default value. Now we're going to select that and use our multi-use knob, change it to TX. We're going to enter and go back. Now we're going to turn our clarifier on, and you'll see that the R and T are very close together. As a matter of fact, they're right on top of each other because I've got a 0 offset. But say the person you're working says, hey, I'm up 2. That means he's up 2 kilohertz. So that's 2,000 hertz. So we're going to crank. And take a note at how long it's going to take me to crank this thing up to 2,000 hertz. And you know, not too irritating, but imagine if he had said he was up 5. Or, you know, he can't be up 10, but if he's up anything less than 10, then you could crank it up to that level. But there we are, up 2. And I'm going to hit my keyer. Please notice that I do have my dummy load in up here. And when I click this, you can see that my frequency up on top changes to 14022, which is the 2K up. And that's how you would use this using the clarifier offset to kind of do a pseudo split. If the transmitting station is working split within 9.995 kilohertz, then using the TX-Clarifier would work. However, between the time it takes to set up and dial in the frequency you want to work, just going to the split function will usually be quicker and easier. Let me show you how to do that. Note that I have set the frequency to 14020, which is 20 kilohertz above the lowest end of the 20 meter band. I have the split turned off, and we're going to go to menu item number 35, right here in the middle. Default is 5 kilohertz, and that's probably good for most of the time, but we're going to be a little, I want to show you something down the road a bit, so we're going to go up to 10 kilohertz. Note that when I was changing it, it was going up in 1 kilohertz increments. Now, we are going to set our receive frequency. You see, I've got receive and transmit on the same line right here in the middle. So we're going to call this our receive frequency. Now I'm going to press the AB button, and I'm going to tune the main knob, and I'm going to take this up to 1430. Now I'm going to press the AB button, and you'll see I'm transitioning between 1430 and 1420. Now we're going to go into our split. I press the split, and you see that my receive is down here on 1420, and my transmit is on 1430. And there's your split right there. Now what I want to do is, this is the way I want it, but if it comes up in the reverse, press your AB and it'll swap it. Then you will be when I change this, you see that goes, my receive is jumping up and down. But we don't want that. Remember how I said it was confusing? And the reason was because you're dealing with two frequencies. What you want to do is remember that your transmit is his receive, and your receive is his transmit. So our receive frequency is down here at 20. That's where we want to be. That's where we tuned him in. So press the AB again. So the way we have it set up now, after going into the split, is we're receiving down here on 20 and transmitting up on 30. You can do a quick bounce by pushing this TXW, and that will reverse it quickly. And you can also press and hold the split button, and you'll see that I'm now jumping up 10 each time. That was from where we'd set it before. So now when I hit my transmit, I am now transmitting on VFOB, and now I'm receiving on VFOA. And that is the nickel tour of how to use split. The appropriate time that you may want to transmit split is when you're operating on a busy frequency with a lot of people calling you. This could be if you are one of the lucky ones who had a lot of extra cash in their pocket and could afford to do this, and you went to a remote location working on a de-expedition. Or maybe you just set up in a rare park during a Parks on the Air activation. If you're participating in the annual Armed Forces Day, where hams work military radio stations by transmitting on the ham bands and listening on the military bands, or if you're in ITU zones 1 or 3 and working the Americas in ITU zone 2, all of these have different frequency allowances on the HF bands and could be an appropriate time to work split. I have heard it done working split during a contest. It's really not legitimate, okay? It's certainly poor form and probably violates the spirit of the rules, if not the rules themselves. Splitting your transmit and receive frequency on your rig is something that you'll only rarely do. But in those circumstances, when the station you want to get in your log is running split, it's a great tool to have in your toolbox so that you can make that contact. I hope this video has helped you understand when splitting is appropriate and when it is not. I hope you now know the steps required. Functionally, using the TX-Clarifier or using the split function will give you the same results, but the split function is easier and quicker to use than the clarifier. I also hope that you've had your rig turned on and were following along with the descriptions as I gave them. All of this information is in your owner's manual, so it should be easy for you to review and practice this without having to go in search of this video, although you're always welcome to come back and review it. The procedure and process is nearly identical for most radios manufactured in the last decade, maybe 20 years or so. Please take a moment to give me a like.
Please like me. Please.
By popping that thumbs up icon. Share
Thank you for sharing
this video with your friends and compatriots in the FT-991 community, especially new users and on social media. If you have any questions, concerns, or comments,
Questions? Comments?
drop a line down in the comments section. And finally, please consider pushing that subscribe button
I subscribe to Team Beat.
so that you'll be able to find all of my content in one easy spot. Thanks for dropping by for a Ham Shack chat about using the split function. Please remember to check out the links to pick up a dummy load for your shack. And if you need one, I got a link to this neat presentation pointer as well. 73 until the next Hey Y'all. I'm Tom, ND3N, and I am out.